I'm meteorologist Lee Bourne. Thanks for checking in with us on the World Wide Web. Here we are into the first week of June. It's been a hot start, and that's very typical here for the month of June. In Flagstaff, high temperatures, we usually start off in the mid-70s, but by the time we get into the end of the month, the average high temperature is in the 80s. But today, here we are, June 9th was the 8th straight day of temperatures being in the 80s. And of course, we had some record type temperatures earlier in the week and last weekend when we were seeing temperatures in the upper 80s. Still haven't hit the 90-degree mark in Flagstaff, and some summers we don't. And that's just the kind of summer I like. As warm as it's been here yet this year is 88 degrees. It's also a very dry month. In fact, it is the driest month of the calendar year. In June, we only get 0.43 of an inch of precipitation on average, and it's really kind of pucker up time here as we get into fire season, and we have seen the fires getting going across Arizona. This is a shot from NASA taken earlier in the week, and here we are up towards Flagstaff in the Coconino National Forest. The Mormon fire, which of course is a managed burn started by a lightning strike a couple weeks ago, but Forest Service just letting it burn out and restore the habitat down there. A very large fire at nearly 30,000 acres, the Juniper fire, that's burning down in the Tonto National Forest, and look at all the smoke from this visible from space. Of course, we've had some smoky days over the last couple weeks from some of these managed fires across the region. This is a straight up wildfire, the Juniper fire, and that was started by lightning as well. But we've had some smoky days around the Verde Valley and Sedona and even here in Flagstaff, but sometimes when we get some good strong winds, helps clean out the atmosphere. Unfortunately, it hasn't been too smoky around here for the last several days. All right, I want to switch it over to the national satellite and just talk about, we're in this June pattern where there's no real strong storms coming in off the Pacific any longer as the storm track starts to get more and more north, and this is kind of why June is so dry. We also have that monsoon boundary of all the moisture that's off the Gulf of Mexico, and that's starting to ramp up down in Old Mexico. But it takes a while. It takes a month or so for us to start seeing this creep into the state of Arizona. So we have some dry weeks ahead of us here as the monsoon really doesn't get going until we get into early July. And I just want to talk a little bit about the monsoon because all our eyes are going to be on that moisture to the south and how is it going to get here. And what monsoon is defined by is a seasonal wind shift. Most of the months of the year, about 9 months of the year, everything comes from west to east across the United States, including us here in the southwest. We have Pacific high pressure that stays there all year long, and it kind of brings us a dry flow when there's not a storm suppressing it off. The flow comes from the northwest. But we also have out in the Atlantic what's called the Bermuda high pressure. And as we get into the summer months, this strengthens. And notice the clockwise motion around the high pressure that's off the Atlantic brings moisture in off the Atlantic. This high pressure system builds in across the United States, the strengthening of the Atlantic high pressure. And when that happens, we take a look at this map as high pressure starts to build into the plains. Now notice that our flow, instead of westerly like it is through much of the year, it turns to southerly and southeasterly across Arizona. And that's what brings in the monsoon moisture and brings us into our rainy season, which just can't come soon enough. We've had kind of little hints of it trying to kick in. It happened earlier in the week with very limited moisture making its way into the state, and I think that's going to happen for us on Friday night into Saturday as high pressure kind of builds around the four corners, and we see a few very weak showers and thunderstorms across the region. That's Friday night and into Saturday. And then we get late weekend and we get back into a more typical type June. And this is what happens during June. It's like a little struggle between the two little systems. We turn back southwesterly on Sunday. It'll be dry and windy once again come Sunday. The good news is high temperatures are going to be less hot than we've been here going through the forecast period. So we have chances for some very weak showers and thunderstorms on Friday, Saturday. Notice our temperatures during the daytime are out of the 80s, and we're only in the mid-70s late weekend. We get into next week, and we remain dry. And here we are next Tuesday, just about a week out from the summer solstice, which is on June 20th. So you can expect the extended forecast here through June to be mainly just hot and dry as we just wait out this month until our rainy season kicks in. All right. Thanks for tuning in here.